Hi everyone, I'm Libby, I'm Cake Mama. I'm back again. I took a couple weeks off to spend time with my family for the holidays. I hope you guys had a really awesome end of the year. We're on to 2019, so I thought today we would do a fun tutorial. I just picked up a new cake tool that I'm obsessed with and I want to show you guys how to use it. So for today's tutorial, all you're going to need is your 6-inch cake. I have 3 layers here. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a crumb coat, and then you're going to see where we're going with the cake. Now using your bench scraper, you're going to want to take off all the excess. Make sure you're holding it level. And I like to just turn my turntable slowly. Alright, now that we have our cake all crumb coated, I'm going to put this in the refrigerator because we want it to be nice and firm for our final coat of frosting. So I would say about 10 to 15 minutes in the refrigerator, and then we'll get started. Okay you guys, so now that our cake has had time to chill in the refrigerator, we're going to go ahead and put a pink layer of frosting onto the outside of our cake. And we're going to want to do this with a nice thick layer of buttercream because we're going to be scraping quite a bit off. And we don't want to see any of the white underneath. So I'm just putting on nice thick layers of my buttercream, going all the way around. Okay, so the tool that I have purchased recently, which I have become obsessed with, is this cake comb, and I found it on Amazon for basically nothing. And it has all these ridges on one side, if you can see, and you've got some spiky ones on this side, and then you have the smooth side. So for this cake, we're going to be doing horizontal stripes all the way up the top of the cake, and we're going to be using this side right here. But before we use this side, we're going to smooth out a little bit our frosting. So I'm using the smooth side, making sure my hand is level, not applying too much pressure because we don't want to take off too much. We're just smoothing it out. Forcing out any of those air pockets with a little bit of pressure. All right, so the next thing that we're going to use is the other side of our cake comb. We're going to push this right in slightly to make those ridges. Keeping one hand steady on the cake comb and just spinning my turntable with the other hand. You can see all of our ridges forming. Now I'm just going to take my spatula and take some of this excess off the base. And then also you're gonna wanna take your spatula and smooth out the top. So instead of placing this cake into the refrigerator to firm up like we normally do, this time I'm gonna wanna put it in the freezer, sorry. We're gonna wanna put this right into the freezer for about 15 minutes because we want it to be frozen when we fill in our ridges with another color. So I'm going to go put this in the freezer right now for 15 minutes. All right, so I have pulled our cake from the freezer. It's nice and solid. And what I have done is I've bagged up some pretty orange buttercream here, and I've just snipped off the very end of it. And I'm gonna go around all of these grooves, filling it in with orange. All right, now that you have all of your grooves filled in and your cake is still frozen, we're gonna take our bench scraper and we're gonna scrape off all of this excess orange. Now you do have to give your bench scraper a little bit of force, and don't be afraid because your cake is frozen, but you wanna make sure you're pushing because you want those pink stripes to come through. And just keep going around and around until you see your stripes are forming. I'm hoping you guys can see the way that this is coming out. All right, so the next thing that we're gonna get ready for is we're gonna do a white chocolate drip all the way down the sides of our cake. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I've prepared my white chocolate ganache, which I've just microwaved white baking chips and heavy cream in the microwave, 30 seconds at a time. And you wanna be careful with it because you don't wanna go overboard and have your chocolate seize up on you. So make sure that you're only doing 30 seconds at a time. And I used just a little bit of my teal Wilton gel food coloring so that I could make it this pretty teal color, because we're gonna be using these gorgeous sprinkles that I found at Walmart, and I just loved them. So we're gonna be putting these around the base, and we're gonna be doing sprinkled drips, which is some awesome technique that I've just discovered on Instagram from a fellow baker named Brittany May Cakes, and I'm going to be showing you guys how to do that today. So I'm going to be starting with my drips. Alright, so before our sprinkle drips harden all the way, we're going to be doing our sprinkle drips. So you want to have your sprinkles, and I have a little bit of water here because the way that we're going to apply them is you want to dampen your finger just slightly and then stick them in your sprinkles. Have some attached to you. Then you're just going to carefully place them all over your sprinkle drips. Now this is a little bit time consuming, as you can see, but the end result is just so worth it that I can't stop doing it. And I like to go through with any empty space and just kind of pick up some of the larger sprinkles, and then you can kind of place them where you want those ones to go. Whoops, you're gonna drop some. That's to be expected. You can see how adorable it is when your drips are just covered in adorable sprinkles. Alright, and so now that we have all of our drips covered in sprinkles, I like to just kind of give it a look through and see if there are any empty spaces where we can stick some of these bigger ones. And once you think it looks pretty good, we're gonna take the same sprinkles and we're gonna give it a little base on the bottom. So I like to just put a little bit in my hands. And you're gonna definitely lose some sprinkles here, but don't worry about it. And we're just gonna gently place them up against the side of the cake all the way around. Alright everyone, well here's the final product of our sprinkle drip striped cake. I really hope you enjoyed watching this video and learning how to do it yourself. And I can't wait to figure out what we're going to do next week. And thank you so much for all of your support. And welcome to 2019. Bye everyone.